winter time and daylight savings and all that. I think actually we're not necessarily 100%.
We are live.
Hey guys, how are you doing? We're just discussing to see if actually our timings are correct. So it's 8 a.m. New Zealand time, and that should be those time usually. But we never really know if it's actually the right time elsewhere. Yeah.
What time is it where you guys are right now? Let us know so we can update our timings, which we'll get to in just a moment. But for now, let's just introduce ourselves. We are BackpackerGuide.NZ, and this is Robin. I'm Laura, and together we run the website BackpackerGuide.NZ, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. So anything to do with traveling in New Zealand, if you're doing a working holiday or a camper van trip or even a quick trip around the North Island, our website is the go-to place to go and check out everything you need to know about traveling in New Zealand.
Indeed it is.
And every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, we do this live Q&A session. So you guys can come onto the live chat and ask all your questions to do with traveling in New Zealand. So just so you know, elsewhere in the world...
Oh, okay, well.
Let's explain that a little bit more. So elsewhere in the world, so like I said, it's Sunday, 8 a.m. New Zealand time, and that's when our live chat is every single Sunday. But elsewhere, that is on a Saturday in the US at 2 p.m. EST or 11 a.m. PST. In Europe, UK, France, that sort of area, it's around 7 p.m. on a Saturday evening. And in India, that is 12:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So let us know if those times are correct for you guys. Where are you guys from? Let us know in the live chat and tell us what time is it currently where you are.
Just so we get that right. We are really having a lot of discussions about that.
Yeah. So just to explain a little bit more about the questions on our live Q&A session every single Sunday. We gather questions throughout the week on our various different social media channels, and we go through them all on this live Q&A session. So if you guys have any questions throughout the week or can't make it to the Q&A session, you just need to leave us a comment in any one of our videos with your question. Alternatively, you can send us a message on Facebook, which is just BackpackerGuide.NZ. You'll find our page easily. Or you can send us a question through Twitter at BPKGuide. Or simply on Instagram by sending us a private message at BackpackerGuide.NZ. All right.
And you can also share your beautiful pictures on Instagram. We always love that.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning, everybody. It's another glorious day in New Zealand. Life is beautiful. Life is awesome. I'm happy. You're happy, right?
I'm pretty happy.
It's an awesome day. All right, so let's get started with questions. Let's dive right into it. So as Laura mentioned, we do receive a lot of questions throughout the week. So that's what we kind of use as a base, for those videos. And the first question that we're going to go through comes from Twitter. So you can ask us a question on Twitter on at BPKGuide. And the question comes from at Livewire446. Livewire asks, hi. I'm traveling to New Zealand for 3 weeks, arriving in Christchurch on the 5th of April at 5:30 p.m. I like your videos. Great. Thanks. I'm a bit confused about buying a SIM card. You recommend 2 degrees. How do you get it at the airport after 5:30 p.m.? What is the best plan? And also, I have a GPS in my motorhome. Thanks.
All
right, so let's just get started right out of the gate by saying that no, we do not recommend 2 degrees. It's one of the options, so we explain that as one of the options, but we don't necessarily recommend 2 degrees. They are the one that have the poorest network, so the least coverage around the country. So if we were to pick a network, which obviously we do since we're in New Zealand, we are not going with 2 degrees, and in almost no case we are going with 2 degrees. So we recommend the Spark network, which has brands like Spark or Skinny on it. It's the widest and the fastest in the country. And there's also the Vodafone network, which has the brand Vodafone on it.
Most people have heard of Vodafone. It's international.
Exactly, so now the first thing that I want to answer in your question, you ask about the best plan. So we'll go over where to find your SIM card in a minute. But first, I want to talk about the best plan since I already started talking about the different brands. So for the plans, if you decide to go with Skinny, which is going to be kind of the cheapest one, we recommend to go with a prepaid. And in prepay, you can have a plan. I know it sounds a little bit crazy to have like both prepay and a plan, but that's how it works. Basically, you top up your account, which is prepay. So you buy a voucher of $20, you put $20 on your account, and then with this $20, you spend $16 to buy a plan that lasts for 1 month. It's the most flexible to do it, the way to go, especially when traveling around, because you get all the advantages of a plan with the flexibility of the prepay. Now, in our opinion, the plan, which is the prepay plan, which is around $16 with Skinny, gives you really good value. Now, same thing with Vodafone. They have a system which is called the My Flex plan, which basically works the same. You top up your account with some prepaid money, and then you can design your own plan. So you have a little slider and you say, okay, I want less minutes, but I want more data, and I want this and I want that. So it's pretty flexible, but it turned out to have a very similar kind of plan than what the $60 in Skinny is, meaning that you're going to have unlimited text and about 200 minutes calling and about a bit more than 1 gigabyte of data. You will be paying about $18. I think it's 1.25 gigabyte of data. And for Spark, which is another really big company, the same similar plan on prepay will be called Value Pack. And that would be about $19. Now, make sure to compare your needs, like how much data you want and all of that. Just don't overestimate how much data you need. Like, no one needs like 3 gigabytes of internet, especially since you mentioned you have a GPS in your phone. So you won't be using the GPS in your motorhome. You won't be using your GPS at all. So that's going to shave off a lot of data in here. So keep that in mind when you compare all those plans. So again, Vodafone, Spark, and Skinny are the one that we mostly recommend. The 2 degrees is just another option, but not the one that we kind of put our name behind it. All right, so now that's to give you like kind of what are the best plans. We actually do have other videos that actually details all those things. And obviously we're going to be linking below into an article which we keep regularly up to date with all the different plans that you have available. It's quite crazy the amount of changes that those things go throughout the year. So yeah, bear with us. Sometimes it's not like the up to date by the minute, but we work on that.
Yeah.
Now you were also asking, so if you arrive a little bit late at night, so at 5:30 p.m. at the Christchurch airport, where do you buy your SIM card? That's a question actually that we get quite often because everybody wants to hit the ground running and get that done really quickly. So Laura, do you want to go through that?
Yeah, so certainly at Christchurch Airport, there are some phone stores there, which because 5:30 p.m. is quite a popular time for flights to arrive in Christchurch, I really doubt that the phone shops will be closed at that time. And also remember that it is an international airport, so stores do tend to stay open later than, if you're in a city or a town. So there's definitely a Spark shop in the Christchurch Airport, and there's possibly a Vodafone one as well. You might just want to double check that. But if you for whatever reason you don't have the right phone network available, like the right phone network shop available in Christchurch that you want to choose, probably the next best thing is to go to this big department store chain in New Zealand called The Warehouse. And this store is usually open till about 8 p.m. And they have an entertainment section which has SIM cards for all the phone networks in New Zealand. So that's the next best place to go and actually have all the choice of all the different phone networks. So in Christchurch, probably the closest Warehouse stores to the Christchurch Airport, there's one in the Northlands area, there's one in Hornby, and there's one in Belfast. So obviously when you are sort of planning where you're going to be going after you pick up your motorhome, just see which one of those Warehouse stores is on your route for when you're leaving Christchurch. And the Warehouse is also a really good place to pick up some other essentials that you might need for your trip, because it is like a big department store known for being one of the cheaper department stores. So it's always worth popping in if you do want to get some essentials before hitting the road. Do you have anything else to add to that? Or
no, I think that I think that the thing that a lot of people worry about when they choose their SIM card is, am I going to get enough data? And I just want to stress that enough. I know I already stressed this once, but really you do not need as much data as you think you need. And a lot of people end up spending way too much money for that. Remember, you're going to get Wi-Fi, which is internet again, in almost every hostel you're going to go into. Yeah. And also, you're going to be traveling around New Zealand. So it's not necessarily going to be like something you really badly need all the time.
Yeah.
Mind you, it will allow you to access BackpackerGuide.NZ. So, obviously you want it. But, But yeah. Anyway, so that's basically everything about getting your SIM card late at night in Christchurch, as well as which one would be the best plan. I hope that this answered your question. Livewire 446. Or was it? Yeah, I got it right. Yeah, look at that. Livewire 446. But if you do have any follow-up questions, in the comment below, if you guys are watching a replay of this video, in the comment below, this is because you guys are asking a question that we have so much answer to all the questions.
Yeah, and if you have any more questions during this live session, make sure you to put them in the live chat, and we will get right to it.
Yeah, cool.
Speaking of, I think we should get to the live chat.
Yes. All right, so on the live chat, we're having Snowskin. Good morning, Snowskin. Always around. Actually, we're going to take your question next. I do really like it.
Yeah.
And Ranjit Singh, thanks. Well, you're welcome. And good morning, Ranjit. All right, cool. So on the live chat right now on YouTube, we're having Stoneskin that asks, do you guys have any experiences with pod hostels like Juicy Snooze in Christchurch? What are the pros and cons? All right. Yeah. So I think we should just get started with what are pod hostels. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people are going to click on that video and be like, what the hell is a pod hostel?
What is this crazy pod hostel?
All right, so pod hostel is basically the New Zealand equivalent of the Japanese capsule hostels. So they are basically hostels which have massive dorms or massive-ish. In New Zealand there will be about 8, I think.
Probably 8 or 10 is probably the biggest sort of dorm you'll get in New Zealand. Yeah.
So there will be a really big dorm, but each of those dorm actually is not going to be just bunk beds, but it's going to be capsules. So they're going to be basically usually like lodged into the walls, and you have your own privacy. So you have your own curtains, and then we get in, you have a space of your own. So it's kind of like a private way to stay in a dorm. And now to give you an idea a little bit of what it is like actually in a hostel, I'm just going to go on our article, which we're going to refer to quite a lot in this video, but this is our article about pod hostels, and we actually have a virtual tour. So I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but this is basically what privacy looks like in a pod hostel. So you basically, this is the other pods right here, and you are inside one pod right here. So you have your bed and all of that. So it is actually quite cool. And if you do want to see this one a bit better, because obviously me showing you a screen on camera is not necessarily the best thing, you can definitely go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, and in the search bar you type pod hostel, so it's POD and then hostel, and you'll find this article very quickly. Otherwise, we're also going to be putting the link in the description below. Now, this is what pod hostels are. It's called pod hostel because there is pods. Now, most of the hostels which are pod hostels, they will also have the option to go for a private room if you want to. Some of them even have normal dorms, and they have all the facilities of normal hostels. So they're going to have a really big kitchen. They're going to have a laundry. I mean, for example, thinking about Juicy Snooze, which is the one you're mentioning right now, Stone Skin. They have a massive kitchen, and the hanging, like the lounge area. There is like fake grass on the floor. There's bean bags everywhere. There's hammocks. I mean, it's a massive hostel right by the Christchurch airport, which is quite cool. So you have all the facilities of hostels. You have and you have the privacy of like being in a
just when you're basically where you're sleeping. This is where you get your own privacy. Basically, when you go to bed at night, or
you nest in your little egg, rather than being on the bunk bed. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now pod hostels, there obviously are some pros and cons, right? Do you want to go for some pros and cons a little bit?
Yeah, so definitely one of the first pros that comes to mind for me is that obviously when you're in a dorm, you have to be really aware of everyone else around you. If people are going to sleep, you don't want to be up all night watching movies and blaring like bright lights all around the dorm. But in a pod hostel, when you have your own little pod, there's usually a curtain or a blind that comes down, so that blocks basically any light that you're creating.
Yeah, it's a really thick one.
Yeah, from anyone else sleeping in the dorm. And also in pod hostels, they usually have a USB plug or your own, power socket or something, so you can actually, be on your phone or charge your phone or your laptop and, spend some time actually maybe, or even reading. They have reading lights as well, so you can have your own private space, stay up basically to as late as you want on your computer.
I always feel guilty when I watch a movie or something. I make so much light.
Exactly. So you don't have to worry too much about disturbing others because of that nice private space. And like Robin said, you do have all the shared facilities of a normal hostel. So you have the bathrooms, the kitchens, and all the essentials like that. So it still has all the normal pros of a hostel, just that extra little bit of privacy, which, you know, usually makes for a better night's sleep.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and actually, that's one of the pros that I think about pod hostel is that you kind of choose if you want to be social or if you want your privacy. So you know, if you do feel like, you know, you want to mingle with people, where you can go in the lounge, or you can even just open your curtain and you're going to see some other people in your room, or you can just close it and be like, no, I just want my own space. Now, on the other hand, if I were to like turn that into a con, humans tend to want their own little space, so you will find much more curtain closed than open. But you know, it just means that you have to go to the lounge, and you will usually find in pod hostel the lounge area are actually much more like, you know, jacked up. Like, you know, again, if we're talking about the juicy snooze, there is like such a massive, like the lounge area. I keep on talking about it. It's so awesome. There's hammocks everywhere. I mean, there is indoor hammocks. How cool is that? So usually it's more something that you're not going to socialize in the room. You're going to be socializing in the lounge. If I were to think about another pro, or something is going to be pros and cons. Staying in a pod hostel is going to cost you much less than staying in a private room or in a hotel or in a motel, right? So you have your privacy for a small fraction of the cost. However, staying in a pod hostel is going to cost you a little bit more than staying in a bunk dorm. So, you know, suddenly you kind of wonder, look at which one would be the best one. But I personally feel that it's a pretty good ratio. Now, if I want to think about another pro, personally, or do you want to go?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I want to think about another pro. Basically, most of the pod hostels are actually brand new because it's such a new concept in New Zealand. Almost every hostel, which is a pod hostel, you know, I'm thinking about, I think it was called Tahuna Pod in Queenstown.
Yeah.
What was the name of this one in Oamaru, for example?
The Oamaru Backpackers.
Okay, the Oamaru Backpackers, they have like a little bit of a pod. Oh, the Juicy Snooze. They are brand new because it's a new concept. So they had to rebuild the whole room, and well, the Juicy Snooze in Christchurch, actually, they purposely built the whole system and the whole thing around that because, well, they were like, you know what, we're opening a new hostel, let's make it a pod hostel. So it all went from scratch. So you kind of stay in brand new hostel, and I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, if you watch this video in 10 years, well, you know, again, watch the date of that video. It's 10 years old now, but you know, it's brand new hostel, and you know, it's always so cool to stay in brand new hostel.
Yeah, so another pro could be just the experience of staying in a pod hostel. It's really, like I say, well, like Robin was saying, quite new. It's quite a novelty thing to do, and you know, it's just a different sort of type of hostel to stay in. So it's a really cool and different experience, and makes it much different to your normal like squeaky bunk beds hostel experience. So,
if you don't get to go to Japan and experience those, you know, in Japan, it's world famous for those capsule hostel in Japan. Like, it's kind of like the thing you go literally just for your Instagram picture.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you say that I stay in one of those capsule hostels. You know, it just looks futuristic and everything. Well, if you don't get to go to Japan, you come and you do that in New Zealand.
It's purely for the bragging rights. Could be a reason to go stay in a pod hostel.
All right, so that's basically our take for pod hostels in New Zealand. Again, we have actually an article that explains what are pod hostels and where to find pod hostels in New Zealand. We're going to link that in the description below. We did mention about 3 places over there, but Stoneskin, you were asking about the Juicy Snooze in Christchurch. So here you go. That's our take on this one. If you do have any follow-up questions in the live chat, if you're watching a replay of this video, you get the follow-up questions in the comment below, and we'll get to it right away.
And if you do like our answers, make sure you like our video.
All right, let's say hi to the live chat. Carling, hi from Canada. Hey, howdy, bonjour. What, like whichever part of Canada.
Howdy or bonjour.
You can say howdy or bonjour. MF Zama, thanks very much for the video from Argentina. Hey, hola. I think it's not. I'm actually going to make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us, M. Zafar. And Snowskin's happy with the answer.
Sweet.
Cool. Plan to walk on a ferry in Wellington is an easy transportation to Nelson from Picton Ferry Terminal. All right, so Carlin, you will actually have to take a shuttle for that, or you can take an intercity bus, but the intercity bus will pick you up from the I-site. Now, it's not much of a walk from the you know, where you walk off the ferry in Picton. So in Picton, you arrive on the ferry, you hop off the ferry, and then you walk about like 10-15 minutes and you are at the I-site, and this is where the intercity bus will go. This will be your best and cheapest option to go from Picton all the way to Nelson. So here you go. And someone wants a job. Okay, cool. I am Jose. What is your question? But just just write your question. In the meantime, we're gonna go for something else. Right here, actually, Carlin, you're about to go to Wellington. Well, we actually have a question about Wellington, so you may want to stick around.
Sweet.
All right. So on Facebook, we had Anita that asked, "Good morning, Laura." Just Laura.
Just me. Yeah.
Do you want to read this one?
Yeah.
It's clearly
directed to me. Okay. So on Facebook, Anita asks, "Good morning, Laura. I will be in Wellington for 3 days and I would like to know, what do you recommend to do there? I will be on a very tight budget because I have a lot planned for the South Island, so nothing too expensive, please. Thanks."
All right, Wellington on the budget.
Yeah.
Actually, it's one of the best places to be on the budget.
Yeah, there's actually so much to do in Wellington that is either free or cheap. And we actually have an article on BackpackerGuide.NZ, which is like the 23 free or cheap things to do in Wellington. So we'll make sure to link that in the description when we do the rebroadcast of this video. But in the meantime, we'll give you a few highlights from that list, which I think should first start with the Te Papa Museum.
Ah, for sure.
Yeah, so the Te Papa Museum is a completely free museum to go to, and it's often said to be one of the best museums in New Zealand, so it is an absolute must-do. And this covers basically everything to do with New Zealand. It's like the National Museum of New Zealand. So you can learn about the social history, you can learn about the Maori culture, you can learn about the natural history, about the earthquakes and the landscapes, the wildlife. There's so much to unpack here, and you can easily spend a good 2 to 3 hours going through every single exhibition. It's really an awesome way to spend some time in Wellington. Another option you could do is go to the Weta Cave if you have any interest in movie making or the Lord of the Rings or anything like that. Just go onto a bus to the Miramar end of Wellington, and there's buses going there really regularly. And there is the Weta Cave, which is the home of Weta, which is a digital effects and special effects and props company in New Zealand. They were behind some movies like, of course, The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, King Kong, and more recently things like the Avengers and the Marvel movies and stuff like that. So they really have they have a lot. There's a lot to really learn at the Weta Cave, and they have the free section of the Weta Cave, which has got a mini museum. There's a little gift shop and a little video which shows you some stuff about the behind the scenes of the Weta workshop. Or you can take one of their guided tours, which are all they're really affordable. I think they're maybe around $40 or something, but there's stuff to go around like the Thunder, because they work on the Thunderbirds, which sounds a bit.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, so even if you're not a fan of Thunderbirds, which I mean, at our age, probably not many people are a fan of Thunderbirds, but they...
Hey, don't underestimate the inner child of people.
Yeah, so it's actually really interesting to see the behind the scenes of these miniature TV shows.
Point out that my bottle is an R2D2 though, so
True. So we do have videos on both tours that the Weta Workshop offers. So we'll make sure to put those links in the description after we do the rebroadcast of this video. Do you want to say some more stuff about Wellington?
So one of the best things to do in Wellington, and the thing that we actually did enjoy almost the most, actually that's not true, we enjoyed everything, but one of the best things to do in Wellington is literally to hang out around the city. There is so much to see around Wellington. There is literally just a walk around. We actually wrote an article on Backpacker Guide, which is an itinerary for walking around Wellington, because there is that much to see. So that's from Cuba Street, which is kind of like a bohemian kind of vibe street with some amazing cafes, and it's just a whole vibe over there. You walk in and instantly you feel like an inspired artist that just found his muse. It's so amazing. Yeah, that's what it is. The Botanic Garden is actually really awesome. You can go feed the ducks and see a lot of places. There's even a tree house that you can go up, and that's where the visitor center is. It's really cool. There's a lot of different gardens. You can walk alongside the waterfront, which has a lot of sculpture. There's even some poetry engraved on stone, which is really cool.
More inspiration for those artists out there.
Exactly. You can take the cable car and go all the way. Well, you go up the Botanic Garden basically.
Yeah.
You go over there. If you want to make it lazy. But the cable car is a very history part of Wellington. Probably one of the main pictures you've seen on Wellington with this big red cable car going down the city. I mean, there is really a lot to see and do while walking around. But the best thing, honestly, if you like to treat yourself a little bit, which you should like. Wellington has some of the best coffees and some of the best pastries in the country. It's really absolutely amazing. And we have multiple videos about visiting Wellington, so make sure to check those out. And we link to a few in the description below because, oh my God, yum, awesome. It's just really cool. So there's plenty of things to do. And if you want a little bit of a longer walk, which is not necessarily that long, you can go to Mount Victoria.
Yeah, so Mount Victoria is where you can get an awesome perspective and a viewpoint across the city. And this is accessible from the city centre. You just need to walk up a little bit of a residential area. And if you check out any of our articles about Mount Victoria on BackpackerGuide.NZ, it will show you exactly where to go. But basically, you're walking along some walking trails up to Mount Victoria, and that is a perfect picture opportunity up there. And you only spend about 2 hours at the most making your way back up there and back down again. So more things to do. You could go and check out the Parliament buildings, which they do run a free tour. So if you are into maybe seeing about the politics in New Zealand, how the government is in New Zealand, then you can go on this free Parliament tour that they offer at the Beehive building, which in itself is a pretty cool photo opportunity.
Now we just want to point out that first, during the tour, you don't visit the Beehive building.
Yep.
Okay, so you don't. And the tour is probably, when we did New Zealand's biggest gap year, 365 activities in 365 days. We did consider that in one of the worst activities we've done.
Yeah.
So check out these videos before you actually waste 2.5 hours in that tour. We did really hate it.
I mean, if you're on
it was not good.
If you're on limited time, maybe skip that one. But if you are struggling for things to do, it's really raining and you have already done the museum.
I just play a board game, watch it. I'm not joking.
But anyway, let's move on from the Parliament buildings. Let's move on to one of actually what I personally think is one of the best things to do in Wellington, which is Zealandia. Zealandia is a wildlife sanctuary which is protected by a predator-proof fence.
That's a hard one. Can you say 3 times in a row?
No, I'm not even going to attempt it. So, it's protected. I was about to actually just say it again. So it's protected by a predator-proof fence, which means that native birds can come and go as they please, but they are basically protected from introduced pests, like basically introduced mammals.
Stoats, rats.
Exactly, So what they have
Cats.
at Zealandia is a really cool museum which tells you about the ecosystem of New Zealand, which is super interesting and really what New Zealand is all about. And then you have various different walking trails to make your way across this huge wildlife sanctuary where there's a few bird feeding stations here and there, which attract some of the native birds, and you can get some real close viewings of some of the amazing birds in New Zealand.
Like the takahe, for example, which is very rare, beautiful blue and red bird. And they come rather close to you, and they are, sending wild animals. It's quite amazing.
Exactly, yeah. And again, we have done this on video, so we'll make sure to link that in the description when we rebroadcast the video. And one final suggestion you could do if you want to get a little bit out the city is to take the #1 bus to Island Bay, where you can find a really awesome walk called the Red Rocks Walk. There's a 40-minute walking trail there, which takes you along some really awesome rock formations, but probably the most exciting thing about this walk is that there is a seal colony there, so you can go and see some seals as well, but make sure you don't get too close because they don't really like it when people get too close to them on land.
Get some distance between you and the seals, okay? I hate every single time we see a seal colony and people go really up close to them. It frightens the seals, makes them aggressive. It's absolutely it's really bad for the animals. So your picture is not worth that much. Plenty of other people.
They're really amazing to watch from afar, basically. So that's a really cool thing to do in Wellington, is to do the Red Rocks Walk. So I think that's about it.
Oh well, we actually have an article on BackpackerGuide.NZ, which is 23 free and cheap things to do in Wellington. So there is much more to do in Wellington. We just picked our favorite basically right here. Actually, Laura picked her favorite because this question was just for you anyway.
Oh yeah.
This is our favorite things to do in Wellington. We'll link up to a few articles below, which is, for example, the itinerary of walking around Wellington, as well as 23 free and cheap things to do in Wellington. Plus, check out all the videos that we have about that. Let's get back to that chat.
Going pretty active on the live chat right now.
MF Zama is asking, do you know if immigrants can work driving an Uber car, or is it only for people that have residence in New Zealand? Thanks. I personally think that there is, I actually do think that Uber has a restriction that you have to be NZ resident to subscribe and be working here as a driver, just for like tax purposes and everything. But if you do, if you can do it, you do have to register for taxes in New Zealand, because obviously that's going to be a work, meaning that you can only do that with a work visa, and meaning that you also have to pay taxes on your income like everybody else. So make sure you look into that. I do not have a specific, definite answer for you, but just in case. Ozair say he would really like to study in New Zealand, and I heard that the education standard is quite hard compared to my country. I do not know what your country is, but yeah, New Zealand actually ranks quite high. I think that was number 9 on like some of the best countries to study or something like that in the last thing I read. But you know, everybody has different rankings. But New Zealand has one university which is ranked worldwide, and that's the Auckland University. And we obviously have a lot of other universities because there is a lot of young people and students here. Hans Den Bode says, I go to New Zealand in April for 3 weeks for a holiday. Can you tell me more about the best part of the North Islands? That's actually a good question. We'll go through that in a minute. And thanks for the great idea for Wellington. Looks like I ought to plan for our next day there.
There really is a lot to do in Wellington. So,
sorry, Carlin. Like basically, Carlin, every single time you're going to mention the city, we're going to give you way too much to do here, and you'll be like, damn, I just don't have enough time. So the best way to discuss with us, Carlin, is not to give us names of cities. Just give generic questions so that you don't have to... All right, so Hans Den Bode, you're asking us about the best part of the North Island. So what we can do is that we can talk to you about 10 different places that we like about the North Islands, and we just wing it with a map. What about that?
Okay, let's
do it.
All right,
cool. So Hans Den Bode says, I go to New Zealand in April for 3 weeks for a holiday. Can you tell me more about the best part of the North Island?
Okay, let's get the North Island out.
All right, so we're going to use our beautiful map now. Just between our beautiful map. Nora, do you want to pick one piece?
Okay, I'm going to go for one of my favourite places in the North Island, which is the Tongariro National Park. Let's do a little... Okay,
I get the pen for the next one.
Yeah.
Actually, I get the blue one.
Oh, it's just around here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tongariro National Park.
So, yeah, that's one of my favourite places in the North Island because it is the home of, obviously, a national park. It is one of New Zealand's very first national parks that was established. And what's really cool here is that it's got some of the best volcanic landscape in the whole country. You can see Mount Nauhoi, which is otherwise known as Mount Doom in the Lord of the Rings. It's home to one of the most popular day hikes in New Zealand, which is the Tongariro Crossing. But on top of that, there's loads more walks that you can be doing. So you don't necessarily have to do the Tongariro Crossing because it gets really busy nowadays. I would definitely suggest doing one of the many other walks there. And if you want to capture some amazing volcanic landscapes, Tongariro National Park is definitely worth spending a few days there.
Since we have used 10 of them, I'm not going to talk for a whole minute about it, but I'm going to say Raglan right here. Raglan is the surf mecca of New Zealand. There is some amazing surf spots for both beginners and for experienced surfers. The whole vibe of the town is kind of like artsy, hippie, bohemian, hipster. It's such a really cool, it's a really cool town. And if you do want to try surfing in New Zealand, it's the best place for, as I say, beginner and experienced one. So I'd say Raglan.
Yes. Another really awesome place is Rotorua. Is that what you would say it is?
I think it's about here, but
okay.
It'll be fine. It's around there.
Yeah. So Rotorua is a super popular tourist destination in New Zealand. It's really famous for its geothermal activity. So there's lots of geothermal parks with all their amazing hot pools and lakes and geysers and loads of really weird and wacky stuff to see. And they also have a huge hub for Maori culture there. So you can see lots of Maori shows. You can do, all sorts of Maori things there. So that's really cool as well.
Cool. My next one is Pahia up there, right
so
here.
A little bit high for Pahia.
Oh, yeah, shit, that's true. I went on the wrong base right here.
Yeah, that's mine.
All right, cool. So, sorry, Pahia right here. Now, Pahia is the gateway to the Bay of Islands with 144 different islands. It's absolutely amazing. There's plenty to do here. You can swim with dolphins. You can skydive and land on the beach. You can explore the Hole in the Rock, which is an amazing rock formation, and get to see some of those islands. There is some bird paradise as well. And you can take yourself a bus to go all the way up to Cape Reinga, which is the top of the North Island. and this is where the Tasman Sea and the Tasman Sea here and the Pacific Ocean meet, and you can see two different colors water across the horizon meeting. It's absolutely stunning. Your bus is going to drive on the beach. It's going to be amazing, and you're going to do some sandboarding. There is so much to do right here, so Pahia is definitely on my list.
Okay, next one on my list is Gisborne. So if you really want to get off the beaten track on the North Island, or is it more like that?
I think so. I'm not sure, but
it's along this coast somewhere. The Gisborne area, let's say.
All right.
Okay, so if you want to get off the beaten track in the North Island, maybe get away from the tourist crowds, experience a more slower pace of life, something a little bit more relaxed. The Gisborne area and all its amazing beaches is definitely an awesome place to go check out. You can do surfing there, brewery tours, just basically anything relaxing that you want to do. Gisborne is the place to go for that.
Definitely. That's such a cool place. Yeah, I really do like it. Okay, so my next one's going to be right here. It's cliche, and I think everybody has to go there, but it's Waitomo. You can do some blackwood rafting. So again, it's like some caving. There is those beautiful caves with the glowworms. It's just such a different part of the world. Just seeing those glowworms in the caves is fantastic. The fun of of doing the tubing underneath and just climbing underneath all those all those caves and those wet and then cold and everything. It's an epic challenge. I love everything about it. So yeah, Waitomo definitely on my list.
Yeah. I think we should maybe add a city destination on the list as well. And we have just talked in our previous question about Wellington. So like we just said, well, there's so much to do in Wellington. And if you really want to get that city vibe in New Zealand, get a good selection of museums, art, culture, amazing botanic gardens, then Wellington is the place to go.
All right. So my second to last, Laura, you only have one more. You better pick right. She's going to pick Hobbiton. There's no question. All right, so I'm going to pick Mount Taranaki right here. Mount Taranaki, this beautiful cone-shaped volcano that you've seen probably thousands of pictures of if you did look into New Zealand. But it's not just that. First, the mountain is absolutely beautiful, but it's surrounded by a beautiful national park with something called more like the Goblin Forest. It's a beautiful forest that really feels like an actual fantasy world. You walk in, every single tree is covered of moss. It's fantastic. There is beautiful waterfall, and the climb, especially in summer, up to Mount Taranaki is an absolute pleasure. It's really cool. It's so fun. I think that Mount Taranaki should be on the list of most people going there. Now, when you're going to try to plan where to stay in Mount Taranaki and everything, probably around the New Plymouth area would be the best place. So that's going to be a town which is just around here next to it. And if you guys are into surfing and you say dragline is my thing, well, around this area as well, if you go around the coast right here, it's called the Surf Highway, and there's plenty of there's plenty of surf spots along the way. So this area here is the region is called Taranaki, the mountain is called Mount Taranaki, the town is called New Plymouth. Definitely worth visiting.
Definitely.
Laura, your last one.
You want me to choose Hobbiton?
I don't want to. I don't care.
Okay.
I just know you will.
I won't actually, because I was thinking of the Coromandel.
Oh, nice.
So the Coromandel is really awesome for beaches. It's the place where Cathedral Cove is located. There's hot water beach where you can dig yourself your own little hot pool because it's got a geothermal spring underneath the sand. And also inland, there's a lot of really cool hikes you can be doing. There's a really popular one called the Pinnacles Walk, but you could also be doing canyoning. You can see kauri trees there, which are the biggest types of trees in New Zealand. So it's a real good mix of forest and like inland mountain adventures and coastal, beautiful golden sand beaches.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, if she didn't pick Hobbiton, I will. Hobbiton is right here. So it's a little township of Matamata. And Hobbiton is basically your classic picture of New Zealand. You go over there, the tour walking around will be about, let's say about 2 hours. You walk around, a bit shorter than 2 hours to be honest, but you walk around, you see the whole movie set, you take your awesome pictures, you learn about the Lord of the Rings, and because Laura and I are both nerds, well, we did enjoy it. It's a really cool place to visit. It's a really like iconic kind of stuff to do on the North Island. And the good thing is that, again, it's less than 2 hour tour. So, when you drive from Auckland, for reference, Auckland would be here. So, when you drive from Auckland, and you go to Raglan, and you can maybe go to Hobbiton as a pit stop before you go to Waitomo, as a pit stop before you go to Rotorua. So it's definitely a very easy one to fit along the way. So yeah, Hobbiton is very helped geographically as well to be one of the hotspots on North Island. But here you go. That is, just from the top of your head, 10 things that we do really love about the North Island. Hence, then Bode. I'm pretty sure I'm destroying that, but that's her name.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying hands down.
No. Anyway, so if you do have any follow-up questions, go for it. If you guys are watching a replay of this video and you want to know more about some of the places, or if you do have some itinerary question, anything like that, go for it. We're here to help.
Sweet.
All right, let me chat the live chat quickly. In the meantime, a lot of people chatting. Oh, Hans say that it was on his or her itinerary already, so that's good. I don't know which one, but so it was. Rikin, is it possible to get a job in the IT field in Hamilton? Yes, it is possible. Aside from that, that's a very generic question. So you're gonna need a work visa for that, and you're gonna need to follow all our job tips, which are in plenty of other videos. Carlin, driving in New Zealand, are the times on Google Map accurate? For example, it says 5.5 hours from Rotorua to Wellington. 5.5 hours only? I've heard New Zealand roads are narrow and twisting, so it takes longer than expected. Yes, it does take longer than expected.
Yeah.
So we actually.
I was just going to say, between Rotorua and Wellington, that's probably where the roads are going to be probably the best in New Zealand. Yeah. The straightest in New Zealand. You have like the main highway basically to get from Wellington to Rotorua. So that's where you're going to find the best sort of state of the roads. And yeah, maybe it will take probably a little bit longer than 5.5 hours, but not incredibly longer. One
other thing you need to keep in mind as well, Caroline, is that New Zealand is absolutely stunning. You're going to want to actually take your time and see a few things. If I have a 5.5 hour drive to do, I wouldn't literally take the whole day to do it, so I can stop along the way.
Yeah.
Because it's well to just drive 5.5 hours straight.
There's loads of places you can stop along the way as well, even for doing walks between Wellington and Rotorua. There's a million places you can be stopping off at for an hour or two. Yeah, so it's definitely worth making it a longer drive.
Yeah, and yes, other than that, well, again, Rotorua to Wellington are going to be the best road for most of the other driving section that you're going to have planned for narrow and twisting road for sure.
Yeah.
Ashok says, bro, how to speak like Kiwi. We actually have a video about that. Weirdly enough, we actually...
you did it with Leah.
Yeah, right? I know. So despite the fact that I'm from France originally and she's from the UK, I actually made a video with a friend of mine called Leo about like some kind of like Kiwi terms and everything and that. So make sure to check in our videos and talk and check about like talk like Kiwis or Kiwi slang videos, and we have a whole video where we go through a lot of like Kiwi speak, which is it's quite cool. So yeah, Ashok, check out our videos. We have one which is literally 10 minutes long, telling you everything about that. Carlene again says that she's going from North Island to the top of the South Island. What is not to be missed on top of the South Island? We'll do that in a minute. I'll just catch up with the live chat and maybe we just take them up and do that. Hence, Dan Bode, thanks for the nice information. I update my bucket list now. Good information, thanks, best regards. So basically, you had your bucket list and we just threw everything out of the window. I'm sorry. You can have fun in New Zealand. I'm sorry, we just added a few things.
But if you do like the answers to our questions, make sure that you like our video. It really helps us to just click that little like button underneath the video.
Chintaka Tenakun says, hi, is there any textile-related job in New Zealand Christchurch? Yes, there are.
Probably.
Check the job board, check our job tips, and go with that. Obviously, we're not employment experts right here, so yeah, check those ones. Stone skin studying for IELTS, so that's like
the language.
Yeah, to do that. I hope you're getting a 7. So we have our fingers crossed for you. And hi, and Ranjit says, hi, would it be too cold for a non-power site in April in a motorhome in the South Island? Honestly, if you have 2 blankets, you'll be fine.
Yeah, as long as you wrap up warm, have extra, like plenty of layers on, because it will be cold.
Yes.
So you need to be prepared for it, but it's not going to be like we've both stayed in a motorhome throughout winter when we were doing our 365 days of 365 activities in New Zealand, and we did spend some time outside of a powered site in a motorhome. So we just got 2 blankets, made sure we kept our socks on at night. And keep warm that way. Otherwise, obviously, it will be more comfortable to stay in a powered site and use the electric heater of your motorhome. That would be the most comfortable night's sleep you'll get.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now, Carleen is asking us about our favorite things to do on top of the South Island. So should we do that?
Best places to do best places to go on the South Island?
No, on top of this. No, top of the South Island. We do half because there's so much to do anyway.
Okay, yeah.
All right, cool. So, do you want to get the map?
Yeah.
So, Carleen is asking us on YouTube, what are our favorite things to do on the top of the South Island?
Shall we do a line across?
No, don't do a we just do the dots right here.
Yeah.
All right, let's get the pen. Do you want to get started?
Sure. Okay.
All right.
Let's start with the Abel Tasman National Park.
Well, that's a good start.
Yeah. So this national park is really known for its golden sand beaches, fringed with beautiful, lush rainforest.
Wow, are you a travel writer? Sounds like you are.
Yeah. So, and yeah, there's a beautiful coastline to explore along the Abel Tasman National Park. You can explore it through various different tours, through sailing, kayaking, or you can do the Coastal Track Great Walk, which is a multi-day hike along the coast. And there's also lots of shorter hikes you can be doing as well. So that's definitely a great place to stay for a day or so.
All right. My take on it will be actually what, in my opinion, divides the top of the South Island to the bottom of the South Island, and that would be the Arthur Pass. Now, this is basically a long drive, which is going through a pass between the mountain, and it's absolutely stunning. You're going to be following braided rivers with mountain cliff on both sides, beautiful native forest. It is one of my favorite, hands down, drive in the whole country. And I think it's really fitting because, in my opinion, this is what creates kind of the top of the South Island. So if I were to do a loop around there, well, guess what? I will actually turn on here. So one of my favorite one is this road trip right here, which is called the Arthur Pass. You can do it driving, and you can also take the Transalpine train, which is one of the top 10 most beautiful train rides in the world. And guess what? It follows the Arthur Pass. So that's to tell you how beautiful it is. One of the most beautiful ones.
Okay.
Next.
Another place I would go to is Karamea, which is yeah. So Karamea is a really small town on the very top of the West Coast region. The West Coast region is all this region down here. I won't draw on it just to not confuse everyone. But yeah, Karamea is also the gateway to the Kahurangi National Park, and this is a place where the Heafy Track Great Walk is located. There's also the Oparara Arches, which are these beautiful, huge rock formations. It's like a huge archway, which we've got a video on, which we'll put into the description on the rebroadcast of this video. And there's really a lot of amazing sort of natural features to see around this area that is really off the tourist trail as well. You won't find many tourists staying around here.
You will have no one there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, yeah, there's caves as well at the Oparara Basin.
Basalt rock formations as well.
Loads of different really cool rock formations and forests. And, you know, you've got the Kahurangi National Park, which I've just mentioned, loads of different walks and hikes to do there. So that's definitely a really cool place to go and explore the wilderness.
Yeah. So I'm going to stick to transportation. I know it sounds really silly, but another one of my favorite things to do is beautiful Nelson. No, Nelson, sorry. Nelson was my next one. But she's going to steal it from me.
Spoiler alert.
Picton. So Picton is the place where the ferry arrives from the North End. So it leaves Wellington and ferries around beautiful Marlborough Sound and arrive in Picton. Now, a lot of people, they just see Picton as a big port of entry of the South End and then leave straight away. There is so much to do, though. The Marlborough Sound are so worth exploring. You can get on the cruise. There is the Mail Cruise. There is Loch Mara, which is like a nice eco retreat where you can go swim and feed stingrays. And there is the Queen's Charlotte Track, which is an amazing hike or mountain bike trail. There is plenty of other mountain bike trails there. It's a really amazing area to visit Picton, and I think that is definitely worth staying at least one day there, and everybody forgets about it. So Picton definitely on my top things to do on the top North Island, South Island.
Okay, another really awesome place, in my opinion, is Kaikoura. That's classed as the top, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more here because that's where Christchurch is, where it finished. Anyway, it's fine.
Christchurch is more here.
Okay, so right, fine.
Okay, Kaikoura. So if you're really into marine wildlife, and I mean, who isn't? It's marine wildlife is
Dolphins,
amazing.
dolphins,
Whales, seals, albatross, like amazing seabirds as well. You can see all of this at Kaikoura. There's loads of different boat tours that can take you dolphin swimming, seal swimming, can take you whale watching. You can do flights over the top of where whales are coming out of the water. There's really like some amazing wildlife experiences to be had there. So Kaikoura, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so my next one is actually going to be Blenheim, which is around here. And Blenheim is in the heart of Marlborough, which is probably the largest wine regions in New Zealand. So if you are a foodie like me, if you do like your cheese, if you do like your wine, if you do like to treat yourself to some delicacies, well, Blenheim, New Zealand, it's the top of the South Island is going to be the place for you. Some awesome. We have done some wine tours, which definitely made us very jolly by the end of the wine tour. I can tell you that.
After 21 wine tastings,
was it 21, 24? I can't remember.
Yeah, we were counting. Yeah.
So check out those videos. We did get giddy, and that was absolutely delicious. So yeah, if you want to treat yourself, and something also really different, what we addressed right here was a lot of like kind of more wild stuff. Well, what about you become civilized and drink some fancy wine?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to take us back to the wild now for my next one. I'm going to take us to Golden Bay.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So to get to Golden Bay, it's quite a journey. You need to go over something called the Takaka Hill, which is a winding road over to some really amazing landscape along the way. It's definitely a scenic drive. But once you get over the Takaka Hill, you arrive at Golden Bay, which has some really small towns, the main hub being a place called Takaka. And this is kind of known as the hippie part of New Zealand.
It is. Do they have this naked hostel?
Yeah, there's a nudist hostel there. There's loads of different backpacker hostels, which are super characterful, and you just need to go for the experience, really. But at Golden Bay, they have a place called Farewell Spit, which is the longest sand spit in New Zealand. And there's bus tours taking you along there. And it's a real like fragile ecological area. And this is actually more protected than a national park in New Zealand. So it's a really special place to go.
There's only one company that takes you there.
Only one company that can take you on the bus up the Sandspit. There's also there's Cape. Oh, I've forgotten which sort of cape it was. But what's the beach called? Why something with the seals?
Damn, you know what? We'll put a link to that video in below, and so like that you get the name. Yeah. Sorry about that.
There's honestly though, in Golden Bay, there's I think it's called like why. No, it's not. Anyway, there's like loads of really stunning beaches, coastline to explore, and it's really yet another place on the top of the South Island where you can get off the beaten track, away from the tourist crowds. And actually on this side is the other end of the Heathy track, which is the Great Walk, which is one of the great walks in New Zealand. And I think it's the longest great walk in New Zealand as well. So if you do want to have like an extended period out in the wilderness, that is definitely a good place to go.
Whakariki.
So
WH.
Whakariki Beach. So also what that is famous for is these archway islands that you can see from the coast. So you get
to refer to the website.
So you can get some awesome pictures there. Golden Bay, definitely one to add to the list.
Definitely. Okay, I'm gonna go right here. St. Arnaud and the Nelson Lakes. Now the Nelson Lakes are absolutely amazing. You know this picture of like there's a very small a jetty of made of wood, and you're in front of a lake, and then you get beautiful mountainous backdrops. They're all taken here. It's such a placid place to go to. It's an amazing area. There's heaps of hills actually just below the stuff. We've done some video there. It's such an amazing place to visit. So Nelson Lakes definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Your last one, the random question.
I think I'm going to go for Westport, which is just below Karamea, but still sort of on the top of the West Coast region. And Westport is actually really famous for surfing. So you can do some beginner surf lessons there. There's a really cool hostel called the Basil's Surf Hostel, and they do lessons there and can take you to do some South Island surfing, which is a little bit chilly, but they give you wetsuits, so that's all good. Yeah. There's also a really cool walk there called the Cape Foulwind Walk.
Yeah, Foulwind,
yeah. The Cape Foulwind Walk, which is a really nice one along the coast. And again, you can see a seal colony. There's a lot of seal colonies to be seen in the South Island. So yeah, that's another really cool place to go and check that out. And it's a really nice, relaxed town where you can just go chill.
Yeah, speaking of nice, relaxed town where you can go chill, right here we have the town of Nelson. So the town of Nelson is world famous in New Zealand for first being the geographical center of New Zealand. So there's literally a hill that you can climb, and there is a dot that says this is a geographical center of the country. I'm still not 100% sure what that actually means, but that's what it is, geographical center of New Zealand. And it also is the place with the highest amount of sunshine hours in the country. There is plenty of things to do there, but it's also, like, I mean, one of the reasons, and it's going to be very silly, but one of the reasons why we like it the most is because it has some of the best hostel in the country.
Yeah.
So there is no hostel that's going to disappoint over there, aside from the YHA, but I'm not going to say it. But most of the hostels are really awesome there. And it's such an amazing place to actually spend time in, and it's going to be your gateway to the Nelson Lake, to the Abel Tasman National Park. Some of the tours can actually, go and take you to Takaka and everything. So, it's going to be a good hub for you to place yourself here. So, if I were to pick one place to actually lodge myself to explore, I will pick this one. So that is it for our top things to do on the top of the South Island of New Zealand. There is obviously much more than that to do. We're going to put plenty of links to videos and articles below to help you guys for sure, because, well, there is just so much to talk about the South Island of New Zealand. It's so awesome. All right, let's go back to the live chat. Hans Dan Bode is asking about taking a drone. We actually did a video about that not that long ago, so if you don't mind just scrolling amongst our video, there is a short snippet of this live stuff. But basically, it's going to be expensive, very highly regulated, and if you don't follow the rules, the fine are sky high. So just make sure that you do follow the rules when flying drones in New Zealand. But check the video, we actually go in depth into all of that. MF Zama is asking about the woof for the car, or woof, or warrant of fitness, basically. So you go to a mechanic. Basically, it's such a simple process, honestly. You just drive your car to a mechanic, and they're going to check the boxes. And if you pass everything, they give it to you. If you don't, they tell you this is what you need to do to pass it. And it's as simple as that. We actually have a video about buying cars in New Zealand, I think. So so check this one out. We go in depth into what you need to do to buy a car in New Zealand.
And you can also go on BackpackerGuide.NZ and just search in the search bar, buying car.
Yeah. Actually, look, I'm even going to show you something, MF Zama.
Yeah. Honestly,
look at that. You go on BackpackerGuide.NZ right here. You click on travel tips. I hope you can see. Travel tips, then transportation. And then in transportation, there is buying a car, the first one right here. If you go here, there is literally like tens of articles that goes in depth into the whole process of buying a car, all the things you need to know about it. So you get plenty of information. So again, you go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, travel tips, then transportation, then buying a car, and you get everything right here. We won't be able to repeat all the valuable information which is here.
But that goes through everything from the registration to the WAF and mechanical checks, all of that you'll be able to have a look, and even different ideas of where to buy a second-hand car in New Zealand. All of that is on that page on the website.
Yeah. We take a lot of, we put a lot of work into putting all the information on the website. So, feel free to just refer to the website. We update it every single day. I mean, this is what we do full time. So, you guys should know that, we have most of the information on the website and readily available. The thing that we tell you right now is kind of like what we know from the top of our mind, right? But all the links and all the stuff are all on the website. So Caroline says that they had some of those in the itinerary, but there's so much more. They wish they had much more time. Thank you. Well, first for the thank you part, you're welcome. Second, man, I cannot believe how many people are actually telling us, I wish I had more time for New Zealand. It's incredible. It's like the number one thing I receive, like even by emails, on Facebook and everything, everybody kind of complain that they just don't have enough time. And it's kind of like,
and I think a lot of people don't realize actually how much there is to do in such a small area. Like even on the top of the South Island, you saw how many dots we had there, and we could even think of more things to do around there. So
to be fair, you would ask us like 10 things that we love about even just let's say the top of the North Island, where I talked about Kahia, for example. We could literally easily give you 10 things, even just from the top of your head, that we really like, and we will actually have to make decisions, meaning that we will have to leave things behind that we wish we would be doing. And that's actually a lesson that we did learn when we were on the road, when traveling around New Zealand, when we did So around New Zealand, we did 365 days, 365 activities. Again, check out those videos. It's pretty epic. We've done a lot of things, and we did all of that in one go. So there was no cheating right here. But what's quite incredible is that after finishing that, even in such a small country like New Zealand, Laura and I felt that we could do it all over again and never do twice the same activity.
Yeah.
And this is quite incredible. Almost every single time we left the place, even after staying 10 days, even staying 7 days in Waitomo, going through almost every single one of their caves, we felt that we could do that again.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
And there's actually, there's always so many options for tours as well, and different walks you can be doing wherever you go. So
yeah, I find that's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
So if you guys are in the very early stage of planning your trip in New Zealand, meaning like you haven't even decided how long you want to spend here, I cannot urge you enough to try to have more time, because you're always going to realize that, oh shit, I wish I had longer here. I wish I had some more time here. And yeah, so make sure that you try to stretch that time as much as you can. So yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for our live chat today. Again, you can find us every single week at this very time on YouTube. So that is 8 a.m. New Zealand time, which should be approximately 2 p.m. EST, 11 a.m. PST, 7 p.m. For UK, France, 7 or 8 p.m. It depends on the daylight saving time, and 12:30 a.m. in India. If you guys can be cool before we wrap it up, before we finish, guys, don't leave. Go in the comment below and please tell us what time it is and where you are from, just to help us keep that timing in check. So be cool, do that. We're going to be taking the time to say goodbye to you guys. So you have time to type it. So please, everybody goes into the live chat right now and type now what time it is and where you are. So be cool. We always struggle so hard to actually put those timings correctly. So that'd be really nice. Anyway, do you want to tell people in the last word? Where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, so if you do have any questions throughout the week and you want us to add it to our pool of questions, we've already done this.
I know. I'm just trying to keep that.
Yeah, if you would add it your question to our pool of questions that we can assess during our next live session next week, you can just find us on Facebook, which you just search Backpacker Guide NZ. Send us a private message with your question, or go on Instagram and send us a private message at BackpackerGuide.NZ, or you can go on Twitter and mention us at BPK Guide. And finally, on any of our videos, type in your question in the comments, and we'll also make sure to add that to our pool of questions. If you don't add your questions to any of our social media, then they will not get answered. So just remember to send your questions away. So finally, one of the best places you can ask your questions is on our live chat. If you arrive at our live chat session, which is at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, as we've already discussed, and all these times that we've mentioned here as well. And
thank you very much, everybody, for giving us the time. Honestly, that's going to be really helpful.
Awesome. Yeah. So obviously show up at the live session with your questions and add them in the live chat, and we will answer them for you.
Exactly. Thank you very much for joining us today, guys. We see you next week. Don't miss it. It's going to be an epic one because we are going to celebrate a milestone.
Are we?
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.